Hey guys, Jeff here with Passive Income Unlocked, and this is the November 2022 income report. If you want to follow along, head on over to passiveincomeunlocked.com. I'll also put a link in the description below. So if you're looking for the short version, we made $46,446. Our expenses were around $9,500, leaving us with a net profit of around $37,000. So this is a big month for us, up almost $10,000 from October. Most of that was due to RPMs, and I'll jump into that in a little bit. So first, things that we worked on last month and any changes, things like that. Thankfully, there were no updates from Google, at least none that were announced, nothing too major that I heard about. Obviously, they're doing updates all the time, but there was nothing that was too significant that we felt at least. So with that being said, what we worked on was just kind of shifting more towards what they outlined in their helpful content update. These were very minor shifts for us. We were doing most of the stuff already, but basically trying to cut down on fluff, so lowering some of our word counts. And when I say lowering word counts, I'm talking maybe going as low as 700 words, whereas before we wouldn't probably drop below 1,000. So instead of outsourcing articles for 2,500 words, we might go 2,000 or 1,800 or something like that. Just basically try to cut down on some of that fluff. That's one thing we're doing. We're also trying to kind of go back and fill in some of the gaps on our site. So we cover a lot of topics on our sites. We have very broad sites. All of our sites are quite broad. And one thing that we are guilty of is we kind of go too big too soon. So we're trying to kind of narrow that focus and niche down more or less within the sites that we already have. So just kind of going back, finding those topics that maybe we've only posted 5 articles here, 3 articles there, and kind of fill in some of those gaps. So that's one thing we're working on as well. But aside from that, we're really not changing a whole lot. We were kind of already going down that path of kind of targeting clusters and things like that. As far as word counts go, we were already going down that path before the helpful content update came out as well. We were already talking with some writing services about basically saying we're just going to give you the topics and you write as much as necessary. We're not going to give you word counts, but we couldn't really find one that we liked that was willing to do that. So what we're just doing is basically that the writing services that we're using, we are providing the word counts or a range or whatever, but we're going a little bit lower than what we were in the past. So, all right, first screenshot I'm going to bring up here are our sites and posts. So as you can see there, we are over 4,600 posts total now across our 6 sites. As far as posting frequency, we shifted from 5 posts a week to 7 posts per week starting on December 1st on all of our sites except for the case study site. So site number 6. Site number 6 that was hit by the last couple of updates, that is still kind of going sideways. So we're going to keep that at 5 posts per week for now. We might even bring that down further depending what happens over the next couple of months. We kind of want to see what happens after the next core algorithm update comes out, whenever that may be. Might even be in December, who knows. But once that comes out, if we don't see any movement or if we see movement in the wrong direction, we'll just have to make a decision from there. So next screenshot is going to be traffic. And what you see on this one is we actually went up a little bit from October to November. And it doesn't look like much, but it still makes a big difference when the RPMs also go up at the same time. And that's why we saw that big revenue increase that I'll jump into in a minute. But what's nice for us is last year, and I think the year before as well, we saw a drop in traffic going from October to November. But this year we saw an increase. So that's obviously a good thing. And the traffic jump mostly comes from site number 1. That's blue in the graph there. That was over 500,000 page views last month on its own. But that's not the only reason that our traffic went up overall. Basically, in previous years, our seasonal sites dropped by whatever percentage they dropped by. I don't have it off the top of my head. But this year, that percentage drop was actually lower. So they still went down for seasonal traffic, but not by as much as they did in previous years. And that's a big part of why our traffic was actually up. And that's hopefully a sign that those sites are growing. Obviously, we are publishing a lot of content across all of our sites. So even when we see that seasonal decline, we're still hopefully in growth mode on those sites. So I think that's probably what we're seeing here, and that's definitely a good sign for us. Next screenshot will be revenue. So with the economy this year and the algorithm updates, obviously this has been a roller coaster for us and many other people as well. We peaked in May there when our 2 biggest seasonal sites, including My Backyard Life, when they kind of peaked out for the season. And then we had the economy hit, we had the algorithm updates come out throughout the year, and our sites have been all over the place since then. We bottomed out in August, and since then, thankfully, everything has been going back in the right direction. We do feel like we're seeing growth again across pretty much all of our sites. Case study site is not seeing growth, definitely not, but I think with the other sites, at least the first 4 sites, our main sites, those are all seeing some growth. So that's good to see. And again, that little bit of increased traffic from October to November in combination with the RPM increase from October to November, that's what drove that $10,000 increase for us from October to November. And the RPMs were pretty good. It's something that we were concerned about. A lot of people were concerned about RPMs not being good for the fourth quarter because of the economy. And when we go back and compare this year's RPMs to last year's November's RPMs, our sites actually did not do better as a whole. I think maybe 1 or 2 sites were slightly better and the rest of them were down. I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but a couple of them were down pretty big, like $5, $7 RPM drops last year to this year, but 1 or 2 of them were actually up. And overall, we were down as far as RPMs go, so with the same amount of traffic, we would have made more last year versus this year. But we can't really complain because we didn't know what to expect, and we still made $46,000, so obviously we're super happy with that. The RPMs were still very good. So yeah, we'll see what happens in December, but November, we're definitely happy with what we saw. So next screenshot is from Mediavine. So this is where we make most of our money from display ads. As you can see there, the first site listed, that is site number 1 from the previous screenshots and graphs. That brought in $25,000 on its own. We expect to see something similar next month as well. That is a site that just keeps doing better and better over the last quarter of the year. Then when we hit January, it's going to start to decline slowly. And My Backyard Life and a couple of our other seasonal sites will actually do the opposite, where they're going to probably drop again in December. And then as soon as January 1st hits, people are going to start searching for that type of, or those types of topics again. It's literally when January 1st hits, people start searching for outdoor topics. It's probably just a mental shift or whatever, but we see it every year. So basically, we'll be down in December for a couple of our sites, probably 3 of our sites. And then as soon as January hits, we'll start to see that increase. Then March, April, May, that's where they're going to really take off. Next screenshot is from Amazon Associates. This is our US account only. $1,800 there. Made about $75 from our international accounts as well. So for expenses, $9,405 in expenses total. Almost all of that's attributed to outsourced content, mostly through Content Pit. You can get the details over in the written version there. But we spent close to $6,000 in Content Pit for the last 2 or 3 months now, so we're really going heavy with them. We like them the best as far as writing services go. Aside from outsourced content, we have outsourced images, or stock images, I should say, and hosting, and then after that, everything's under $50 or $60. So, all right, net profit for the month. So we made $46,446 and 49 cents. We're going to go down to the penny for revenue. Expenses were $9,404.87, leaving us with a net profit of $37,041.62. So great month for us. Cannot complain one bit. So for future plans and goals, we do actually have some plans. So in the past, probably 2 or 3 or 4 income reports, I feel like I've just said we aren't changing anything. And that's kind of how we've been all year, which I'm actually very happy about. We had a plan at the beginning of the year, and we've stuck to that plan throughout the entire year. So that's great. Now that we're getting close to 2023, we're starting to look into different directions. One of those directions that we're going to go down is building an email list. I don't know how many of our sites we're going to do this on. We're going to do this on at least 2 of our sites, maybe 3. Aside from that, we're also going to probably fire up a YouTube channel for our site number 1, so the oldest site that we have. And we already have a YouTube channel, but basically we're going to add more content to it. I don't think we've published a video on that channel in over a year, maybe longer, and we only had maybe a dozen videos to begin with. But there's a lot of potential on that particular site for growth, so we're going to go down that path of creating YouTube content. And then maybe site number 2 as well. Ben has been posting videos for My Backyard Life for the last probably couple of years, so that is our only active YouTube channel currently. But we think there's potential to expand it out to 1 or 2 more sites. So that's what we're trying to do, diversify our traffic sources. I'm not sure how deep we'll go into the YouTube side of things, but we're definitely going to attack the email side of things. And along with that, we're going to probably try to create some digital products for those sites that we can try to sell through our email list, of course. So maybe with an automated sequence or whatever, 5 to 7 emails, try to sell a product at the end of that sequence. But we haven't really thought it out yet, but that's something we're going to be targeting in 2023. So guys, that's all I have for this one. We're going to be going into December next month. For us, we expect the traffic and revenue to be pretty similar to November. That's what we typically see. Hopefully it'll actually go up, but if we're flat, then that wouldn't be too unusual for us. Hopefully Google will stay quiet once again, but they do tend to release updates around the holidays. After all the updates we've seen this year, hopefully we won't see that again. But if we do, maybe we'll see a bounce back. Maybe you guys will see a bounce back as well, but we'll have to wait and see. So guys, thanks for watching as always. I do appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one.